So, hello students, welcome back to Daily Newspaper Analysis. And today I am here with four new important articles. So, these are your four important articles. So, first article is about Consumer Price Index, and that is from PIB. So, from exam point of view, especially from prelims point of view, this is very important. Yes. So the second important article is related to Brent crude oil. So since we are discussing various articles related to conflict in West Asia, so that's why various kind of terms like Brent crude oil, West Texas Intermediate. So regularly we are reading these kind of terms. So today we shall be discussing some of the static part about them because UPSC can directly ask question from the static part. Now, third topic is related to Earth's magnetic field. It is from the Hindu. So, see, in 2018, UPSC has already asked question about the reversal of magnetic field. So that's why this article becomes important from prelims point of view also, as well as in GS paper 1, it can be asked. And the last article is from Indian Express, and that is about Dandi March because on 12th March every year we celebrate the anniversary of Dandi March because on 12th March 1930 Gandhiji started this march. So that's why no from this prelims point of view these four articles are very important. So, our first article here is about the consumer price index. So, first of all, the context is related to the release of consumer price index because this is a monthly index. And that too, this index is released with a lag of 1 month. So, for example, the CPI of February will be released in March. Another important thing is it is released on 12th of every month. So here on 12th of March, the CPI data of February was released. So this is the first context. Second context is CPI inflation rises to 10-month high of 3.2%. So since CPI includes various volatile items also like food items, fuel items, so that's why here CPI becomes important. The 10-month high or rise in CPI becomes important. So what does the news say? The news says here the CPI is off around 10-month high. So that's why this becomes important. Another important thing is the article says that in spite of 10-month high, the CPI remains within the RBI's target range. So what is that range? That is 4% plus minus 2%. So according to RBI's target range, inflation can vary from 2% to 6%. So even after having being the 10-month high, still it is within the RBI's target range, and that is the good thing. Now, second important thing is why it is on rise. So, as we are discussing from many days regarding the conflict of West Asia, so because of that, there is turbulence and turmoil in the field of oil sector and energy sector. So, this is one of the reason of the price rise. Coming to the prelims oriented points. So about the consumer price index. So first very thing you must know is that what is this index? Means about the definition, because there might be confusion with respect to wholesale price index and consumer price index. So basically consumer price index is related to all those goods and services which are directly consumed by the consumers or households. That's why we call it as retail price index also. Retail price means price of the goods and services used by the consumers. Second important thing is which body publishes it, and no, that body comes under which ministry. So it is published by NSO, that is National Statistical Office, and it comes under which ministry? Under MOSPI, that is Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Third important thing which happened this year is the base year of CPI has been changed from 2012 to 2024. And what is the meaning of this 100 here? See, whenever we are assigning the value 100 to any year, that means it is the base year. For example, now we are assigning value 100 to year 2024. So if in year 2025 price of any commodity becomes 110, then we will say that there is inflation of 10% because the value became from 100 to 110. That's why whenever we talk about any base year or no in front of any year, if you say equal to 100, that means for anything or any survey, it is used as a base year. So this is very important that now base year has been changed from 2012 to 2024. Now, it's not like only one kind of index is released for consumer price index. So we have four types of CPI in India. So they are CPI for industrial workers, agricultural laborers, rural laborers, and CPI combined, that is urban rural combined. So the starting three CPIs, that is industrial workers, agricultural laborers, and rural laborers, it is released by Labor Bureau. And Labor Bureau comes under the Ministry of Labor and Employment. So this thing is very important. So these three are released by Labor Bureau, which comes under Ministry of Labor and Employment. And last one is released by National Statistical Office, which comes under MOSPI. So these things are very important here. Since these changes are done in this year only, so we must know the basic features or what all changes were done in CPI 2024 series. So, a first important thing here is earlier six categories were used to define CPI or to give data with respect to CPI. Now, from six categories, we have shifted to 12 kind of categories. So, from 12 categories, from six categories to 12 categories. We'll be discussing what are those categories. Second important thing is number of items has been increased from 299 to 358. Reason being because in past few years various kind of services has been increased. The type of services has also been increased, and the nano when we are talking about goods and services, so the consumption of services like the from OTT platforms or the online shopping platforms, these kind of services has been increased. That's why the number of items have been increased in 2024 series. Third thing is the more focus on services, as we discussed just now, like the OTT platforms, like the shopping platforms, like Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra. So services from these platforms has been increased. That's why the weightage of service is also very good in this. Detailed data every month. So it's not like, see, as we know that this is a monthly index, but it's not like the data is released only on all India basis. Now the data will be released separately for states also and separately for rural and urban areas also every month. Online prices included. Why online prices are included? Because the use of online platforms have been increased year after year. That's why online prices are included. Last thing, but very important, it introduces the concept of rural house rent for the first time. So through the data of rural house rent, you can easily get an idea that the rural house, you can get an idea about the rural house consumption in India. It's not like people are searching houses only in urban areas. Because if you are including this data about rural house rent, then now we have an idea that yes, rural house consumption is also increasing. So, in what way question can be asked from these items? See, these type of items will help you to eliminate the data. For example, UPSC will ask about the question on CPI. Maybe the first statement is on static part, that no, which body releases this. Maybe second statement is about the base year, and maybe third statement is about the category or the online services, anything. So at least if you know all these 6 points, no, you can easily eliminate one of the statement. Yes, so this is a screenshot from PIB. So let's see if we have missed anything, because from prelims point of view, this is very important. So we should not miss anything. So first thing we have discussed that base year has been shifted from 2012 to 2024. Second thing we have discussed about the 12 divisions. Earlier there were six categories. Now we have 12 divisions. This thing also we have discussed that release of data will be on all India basis and state basis and for rural urban also separately. And about the new additions, we discussed about rural housing, online media service provider, we have discussed all these things. Now, new things are value-added dairy products, barley and its product, pen drive and external hard disk, attendant, babysitter, and exercise equipment. So now, can you see attendants, babysitter, exercise equipments? If we talk about 20 or 30 years back, these services might not be important, but at present they are important. That's why government is trying to introduce the actual services which the consumers are actually using. Now see, if new things are added, obviously few things now will become obsolete. So what all things are removed? Those things are removed which have now become obsolete. So what are those things? Like the CD, DVD players, like tape recorders, radio, all these things have now become obsolete and hence they are removed. So at least you must have a basic idea about all these things. Anywhere it can be asked in examination. Yes. So this is the example what we were talking. No, earlier there were 6 categories and now we have 12 categories. So earlier what all categories we had? Food and beverages, pan, tobacco and intoxicants, clothing and footwear, housing, fuel, light and miscellaneous. So earlier various things were included in miscellaneous only. But now all those things are now expanded, like recreation, like information and communication, like education services. All those things were earlier part of miscellaneous. So now they are expanded because their use is increasing more and more. All the categories from miscellaneous are now expanded in new 2024 series. Another important thing here is earlier the weightage of food items was around 46%. Yes. So earlier, weightage of food items was around 46% and it was largest in CPI. Now also, weightage of food items, food and beverages is largest in CPI, but it has been reduced to around 37%. So earlier it was more than 45%. Now it has been reduced to 37%. Reason being, the no, the remaining percentage or weightage now is being given to housing and services. So if we talk about housing, so earlier housing was allotted weightage of around 10%, but now the housing, water, electricity has been allotted the weightage of 17%. So no, this is this is the fact. Now, no, this is the proof that the number of services or the consumption of services has been increasing year after year. So, as we discussed that earlier, there were 6 categories and now we have overall 12 categories. No, it shifted from 6 categories to 12 categories. So, what were those 6 categories? They were food and beverages, pan and tobacco and intoxicants, clothing and footwear, housing, fuel and light, and miscellaneous. So now, what happened? No, other categories from miscellaneous are now expanded in the form of health, transport, information, communication, recreation, etc., and etc. So this is the thing. Another important thing is earlier housing house sorry, earlier food and beverages had largest category, has highest weightage, that is around 46%. Now also food and beverages have highest weightage, but no, it has been reduced to around 37%. So what is the reason for that? The remaining weightage has now been given to housing and services because their consumption has now been increasing year after year. Another important thing is, I think we discussed about the weightage and about housing and services. Okay, so that's it. So categories increased from 6 to 12. Maximum weightage is still with food and beverages, but now no, the weightage of housing and services has been increasing because earlier housing has been given weightage of around 10%, but now housing, water, electricity has weightage of around 18%. So these were the important things from prelims point of view. Now, next important article is the Brent crude oil. So here, the context is Brent crude oil tops $100 a barrel as Iran attacks on shipping worsen supply concerns. So basically, no, these kind of the name of these kind of crude oils we have been reading from no past 1 or 2 weeks. So let's discuss some of the basics related to these type of crude oil. So first of all, how we judge the quality of any crude oil. So the quality of any crude oil can be judged by its density or its sulfur content. So if it has very less sulfur content, then we will call it as sweet. So now, which crude oil will be good? Any crude oil which can be easily refined into other products like gasoline and diesel, that kind of crude oil will be good. So how we differentiate between different kind of crude oil? So whether any crude oil is light or sweet, or crude oil is heavy or sour. So based on that, Brent crude oil, West Texas Intermediate, Dubai crude, we use them as benchmark. So about the properties. So first of all, let's discuss about the light crude having the high API. So any crude oil which is light, it can flow easily. It will have very low density, and it can yield high gasoline and diesel. So I'm putting a star mark because this is a kind of crude oil all need. Second is the heavy crude. So heavy crude oil will be thick or viscous, and it will be harder to refine. So we do not need this kind of crude oil. Third is the sweet crude. Sweet crude means it will be having very low percentage of sulfur, and it will require very less processing. Hence, we need this kind of crude oil also. So this is also important. Fourth kind is the star crude. Star crude oil means it will be having very high level of sulfur, and it will increase the corrosion as well as the processing cost. So we do not need this kind. So what kind of crude oil we need? The crude oil which is light also and sweet also. That means it can flow easily, it will have low density, as well as it will have the low percentage of sulfur. So this is the kind of crude oil we need. Now, about the major global crude oil benchmarks. So, all the terms which we have read in news, no, we shall discuss those terms here. So, first is the West Texas Intermediate. So, West Texas Intermediate is light and sweet crude oil, and where it is produced? It is produced in USA. So, West Texas Intermediate is produced in USA, and it is used as a crude oil benchmark. Second crude oil is the Brent blend crude oil, and it is found in the North Sea. So this is the region of North Sea, and Brent crude oil is found in this region. Third kind of crude oil is the Dubai Oman. So it is a sour crude, though it is sour crude, but it is used as a benchmark for crude oil for Middle Eastern oil exporting to Asia. So these are the three crude oil benchmarks. Now, here, one of the important question is that why do we need benchmarks? What is the need of benchmarks here? So here the reason is, see, crude oil is produced in many countries and has different qualities. Qualities like the density, the content of sulfur, etc. Now, instead of negotiating a completely new price every time, the market uses benchmark oils to decide the price. So the price of many crude oils is quoted like this. For example, price of any other general crude oil will be equal to the benchmark price, that is price of Brent crude oil or West Texas Intermediate, plus any premium or discount. So for example, suppose the Brent crude benchmark price is at $85 per barrel, and if an oil from any other country is slightly of lower quality, then it may be sold at discount. So for example, it is sold at Brent equal to minus $2. So here finally the price will be $83 per barrel. So this is the need of benchmarks for crude oil. Okay, so third important related to Earth's magnetic field. So here the context is Earth's magnetic flips can last 70,000 years, a new study reveals. So here the main issue is, here the main debate is, earlier it was thought that Earth's magnetic reversals can last for around 10,000 years. But according to a recent study, these magnetic reversals can last for about 70,000 years. And the main issue here is that during the period of magnetic reversals, the magnetic field becomes very weak. And if the magnetic field becomes weak, then it can impact the life on Earth, the Earth's atmosphere, life on Earth, like plants, animals, humans, etc. So this is the main issue here. So let's see if we are missing anything. Okay, so here the article says earlier scientists thought that magnetic reversals will last for around 10,000 years, but now, according to a new research, some reversals can last for around 18,000 years and can even go up to 70,000 years. Now, yes, so reason is given that during the Earth's magnetic reversal, Earth's magnetic field becomes weaker, and hence Earth's atmosphere and life on Earth will face more and more solar radiation. And scientists used numerical simulations of Earth's dynamo to understand this process. That means how scientists came to know that magnetic reversal can last more than 10,000 years. So they used simulations of Earth's geodynamo. So various kind of keywords we have read related to geography. So let's understand that from exam point of view. So here, first important thing is about the Earth's magnetic field itself. So as we know that Earth behaves like a giant magnet. How? For example, this is inner core of Earth, and this is outer core of Earth. So the inner core of Earth is solid, which is made of iron and nickel, and outer core of Earth is liquid and is also made of iron and nickel. So what is the scenario here? This liquid outer core continuously revolves around the solid inner core, and because of that it generates convective currents, and these convective currents only are responsible for magnetic field of Earth. So this overall process is only known as geodynamo process, the process through which convective currents are generated and finally Earth's magnetic field is generated. So for example, this is Earth. So this will be Earth's magnetic field. So this was all about the Earth's magnetic field. So article says that during the reversal process, the Earth's magnetic field can become weak because these magnetic field are protecting us from the harmful solar radiations. So if they can become weak, then they can easily enter in the Earth's atmosphere and impact life on Earth. Now, second important thing is about the geomagnetic reversal. Geomagnetic reversal means, see, this is Earth, this is the axis of rotation. So this is geographical North Pole, this is geographical South Pole. Now, if we talk about the magnetic North and magnetic South Pole, no? So here somewhere we would be having magnetic North Pole, here we would be having magnetic South Pole. The reason being that because the creation of magnetic North Pole and South Pole depends on the convective currents, which we have discussed, depends on the movement of liquid outer core around the solid inner core. So they can change anytime, any disruption can happen. Because of that, the positions of poles can also change. So sometimes magnetic North Pole is here, sometimes it can come here, and sometimes it can come here. So magnetic North Pole can come here, magnetic South Pole can come here. So it can completely reverse. So this is the meaning of geomagnetic reversal. Important thing here is geomagnetic reversal is not regular. It's not like after every 10,000 years or 20,000 years it will happen. So sometimes it can happen after 10,000 years, sometimes it can even happen after 70,000 years also. Now, about the geodynamo. So, geodynamo we already discussed that it's the process that creates the Earth's magnetic field. So, around inner core, solid inner core, liquid outer core is creating the convective currents, and hence it is creating Earth's magnetic field, which we call it as geodynamo. Now, let's discuss briefly about the Earth's core structure. So core structure, so basically Earth have inner core that is solid and Earth has outer core that is liquid. So liquid outer core, is revolving around solid inner core. And other parts, above core we have mantle, and above mantle we have crust. And yes, outer core is liquid made of iron and nickel. Inner core is all solid. It is also made of iron and nickel. Now, how scientists study ancient magnetic fields? So, ancient magnetism, also we call it as paleomagnetism. So, how scientists will study them? See, for example, here a rock is placed, and at present, at this point of time, this is the direction of magnetic field. So, all the sediments inside the rocks, they will, under these rocks, this direction of magnetic field will be preserved. Now, if I talk about 10,000 years, so after 10,000 years, maybe this is the direction of magnetic field. But before 10,000 years, these sediments have preserved this direction of magnetic field, so it will not change. This is the meaning of the paleomagnetism. So based on study of paleomagnetism only, scientists came to know about all these reversals. So our last article is the Dandi March, because 12th March marks the 96th anniversary of historic Salt March. So here we will discuss few prelims related points only. Okay. So first of all, important thing here is it was 24-day march, which started from 12th March and ended on 5th of April. And what was the objective of its march or this march? So objective was tax resistance campaign against the British salt monopoly. So this campaign or this movement was based on the principle of non-violence or satyagraha, that no violence will be done, but still we will put our demands in front of the government and still we will fight for our rights. Now, here Dandi March was very significant movement because see, non-cooperation movement was held in 1920s. So, in those in that duration of 8 to 10 years, no major movement took place. That's why Dandi March was very significant movement. Now, since before starting the march, Gandhiji already informed Viceroy that he was going to raid government salt works at Dharasana. So, because of that, he was arrested. After that, Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahadev Desai, and Gandhiji's son Devdas, they were the first to send to jail. So you have to remember the name of leaders, because name of leaders is very important. Another important point is that British government declared Indian National Congress as illegal. This statement is also very important, because in prelims, no, UPSC generally ask the situations, what all things happened under this movement. So this is very important, that in civil disobedience movement also the Indian National Congress was declared illegal by the government. After that, since they were arrested, Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahadev Desai, and Devdas were arrested. After that, after Gandhiji's arrest, Mr. Abbas Tayyabji took over march to Dharasana. So after Gandhiji, who took the charge, Mr. Abbas Tayyabji, and he was also arrested. So after him, who took the charge? Sarojini Naidu. So she succeeded Abbas Tayyabji, who led the march. Now, important question here is why Gandhiji has chosen salt as a method of protest. See, reason is salt is a basic necessity for everyone. And what happened in 1882? British government passed a salt act, and according to that act, the monopoly of Britishers was established over the sale of salt. So see, it's not. It's like salt was available for free everywhere. Means they were available for free on every coast of India, but Indians cannot use, because Indians were forced by the Britishers to buy the salt from the British entities. So because of that, Gandhiji thought that salt can be one of the product which can unite every Indian and can help us to fight against the Britishers. Okay. So these were the topics for today. Now, question. So this is the question for today. West Texas Intermediate, often seen in news, refers to. So first is major crude oil benchmark used in global oil pricing. Second is a type of shale gas produced in North America. Third is a strategic petroleum reserve maintained by United States. Fourth is a shipping route for crude oil in the Gulf of Mexico. So I think we discussed in detail about Brent crude oil and West Texas Intermediate. So here the answer will be A major crude oil benchmark. So answer will be A. Second is, with reference to Earth's magnetic field, consider the following statements. First is, Earth's magnetic field is generated by the movement of molten iron in the outer core. So yes, this is correct. Second is, during geomagnetic reversal, Earth's magnetic field completely disappears. So see, we have discussed this. During geomagnetic reversal, Earth's magnetic field will become weak. That's why life on Earth will be affected by the solar radiation. But it's not like it will completely disappear. So this statement is incorrect. After that, magnetic minerals and sediments can record the direction of Earth's magnetic field. So this we already discussed with the example of that rock. So this is correct. So here second statement is incorrect and 1 and 3 are correct. So yes, here answer will be A. So yes, today we discussed 4 very important articles. So that's all for discussion of 13th March, and we shall meet tomorrow in the next discussion. Thank you.